In the depths of the Atlantic lies the wreck of the Titanic. But more than a century after the ship sank, new technology is shedding light on what happened on that fateful night.
Titanic, a tragedy that's captivated generations. It's been the inspiration for 3 big movies.
Let's cut straight to it. If the Titanic sank today, the story wouldn't just be different, it would be completely incomparable. Thanks to modern tech, safety standards, and real-time rescue systems, no cruise ship would ever go down the same way the Titanic did. We're talking radar that sees through fog, AI that reroutes around danger, and ships that float even when parts are flooded. So, would the modern Titanic survive the iceberg hit? Or would human error still bring it down? Join us as we explore the mind-blowing truth about what a Titanic-level disaster would look like in 2025. Sinking of the HMS Titanic. In 1912, the Titanic was called unsinkable, but the truth is, it was built at the edge of its time.
With the iceberg, and although she was supposed to be unsinkable, with a double bottom.
Not beyond it. The ship's hull was made from riveted steel plates, and those rivets turned out to be a major weakness. Many of them were made of brittle iron, not high-grade steel, and when the ship scraped along the iceberg, the seams popped open like zippers under pressure. The compartments that were supposed to contain the water didn't go all the way to the top, so when water filled one section, it spilled into the next. There was no sonar, no radar, and absolutely no way to detect ice until it was too close to do anything. Titanic was large and impressive, but it was also blind and vulnerable. Fast forward to 2025, and shipbuilding looks like a different world. So, what if the Titanic sank today? What you are about to witness will blow your mind. Keep watching. Modern cruise ships are built with double hulls. That means there's an extra layer between the ocean and the inside of the ship, which acts as a cushion in case something hits. Inside the ship, there are watertight compartments that rise high enough to truly contain a breach without spilling over. These ships are designed to stay afloat even if several sections are flooded. Engineers plan for worst-case scenarios from the very beginning, not just smooth sailing. Now, we don't even rely on the naked eye to detect icebergs. Satellites keep constant watch over iceberg zones and send updated data to every commercial vessel in real time. There are sonar buoys scattered across high-risk waters, constantly scanning below the surface for anything lurking in the path. Some cruise lines use artificial intelligence to reroute ships days before reaching trouble spots. All this means the kind of surprise that hit Titanic in the middle of the night is much less likely today. But it wasn't just new technology that changed the game. After the Titanic sank, world leaders realized rules had to change too. The SOLAS Agreement, in case you've never heard about it, is short for Safety of Life at Sea, and it was born because of the Titanic disaster. Today, every ship carrying passengers must follow strict safety rules set by SOLAS and the International Maritime Organization. That includes everything from emergency plans to fire control systems to how many life jackets must be on board. These are not suggestions. They are legal must-haves.
It provides an opportunity to promote inclusive innovation, research and development.
Back in 1912, the Titanic didn't carry enough lifeboats for everyone. There were only 20 lifeboats for over 2,200 people. That would be illegal today. Now, ships are required to carry lifeboat space for 125% of passengers and crew. Not just boats either. Life rafts, life jackets, emergency slides, and flotation devices are placed all over. Every person on a modern cruise ship is covered, and backups are in place if the first plan doesn't work. What about the crew? In 1912, many crew members had never practiced a full evacuation, and training standards were vague at best. Today, crew members go through rigorous certification under a system called STCW. That stands for Standards of Training, Certification, and Watchkeeping. Modern crew members must be trained, tested, and recertified regularly. From how to fight fires to medical emergencies to using lifeboats in high seas. If you think that is all, then you are in for more surprises. You see, modern ships also have to pass fire and flood simulations before they're allowed to carry passengers. These aren't guesswork tests. Engineers run digital models that simulate everything from a kitchen fire to a hull breach in a storm. They check how quickly the crew can respond, how fast systems kick in, and how the ship holds up over time. If the simulations show weaknesses, the ship doesn't sail until they're fixed. Every voyage is tracked now, too. Just like airplanes have black boxes, modern ships have voyage data recorders. These devices store every conversation on the bridge, every movement the ship makes, and every technical reading from engine temperature to GPS position. If something happens, investigators can replay the final moments down to the second and figure out exactly what went wrong. Before a new ship even sees the ocean, it must go through strict testing. That includes sea trials, where they push it to the limit in real conditions. Independent inspectors check for performance, safety, and reliability. No ship can sail unless it's approved by recognized classification societies. The Titanic never went through anything that detailed. Its maiden voyage was also its first real-world test, and it failed. To understand how far we've come, just look at the Costa Concordia disaster in 2012. Like the Titanic, it was a luxury cruise ship. But when it struck a reef off the coast of Italy, the evacuation didn't go as planned. The ship tilted heavily, and some lifeboats couldn't be launched. The captain abandoned the ship before all passengers were off, and the communication was messy. Still, because of improved rescue coordination, stronger safety rules, and more equipment on board, most people survived. 32 lives were lost. Tragic, yes, but far fewer than Titanic's 1,500. The mistakes made that night led to even tighter rules and training reforms. Every big mistake today still changes the way ships operate tomorrow. So if Titanic sank in 2025,
deep beneath the Atlantic Ocean, a new look at the legendary Titanic. These fresh images exposing an altered landscape.
its story would play out very differently. The technology is smarter, the laws are stricter, and the people are better prepared. But does that mean disasters are impossible? Not quite. And the reason for this is not what you think. Stay tuned to find out more. Cruise ships and icebergs today. Even though it's been over 100 years since the Titanic went down, icebergs haven't disappeared. The very thing that caused the tragedy in 1912 is still being tracked closely today. That job falls mostly to the International Ice Patrol, a group that's been active since the Titanic disaster. They use satellites to scan huge chunks of the ocean, especially around the North Atlantic. But it doesn't stop there. They also rely on radar data from ships and coastal stations, plus drones and aircraft that fly regular routes to make sure nothing sneaks through. When they find dangerous ice, they update charts in real time and send alerts straight to vessels sailing nearby. But even with all that tech, icebergs are more of a concern today than most people realize. Climate change is melting ice caps at record speed. That sounds like it should reduce iceberg risks, but it's done the opposite. As glaciers melt faster, more chunks break off and float south into shipping lanes. Some are massive, hidden mostly underwater, and can drift far from where they started. That means the iceberg zones aren't just where they used to be. They're wider now, shifting, and sometimes harder to predict. Titanic's original route went straight across the Grand Banks, which was a risky spot even back then. Today, cruise ships usually avoid that area altogether, especially during iceberg season. Routes are planned months ahead, and captains often choose longer, safer paths to stay far from any known ice zones. It's not just a preference, it's part of international safety planning. The industry has learned that cutting across danger zones just isn't worth it, no matter how tight the schedule is. Speed also plays a huge role. One of the Titanic's biggest mistakes was pushing full speed ahead through a known hazard zone. The ship was trying to make a splash in the press, and slowing down wasn't part of the plan. That kind of thinking doesn't fly anymore. When modern ships enter risk zones, whether that's heavy fog, floating ice, or unstable waters, they slow down. It's not just a suggestion. It's written into company policies, enforced by insurance terms, and monitored by safety regulators. That is not all. The bridge of a modern ship is packed with tools that make ice detection and navigation much easier. There's radar layered right over digital maps, showing exactly where objects are in real time. Some bridges even use augmented reality interfaces that project hazards directly on the glass windows, so the crew sees everything without having to look away. If an iceberg shows up or weather changes quickly, the system sends out instant alarms. That means no more relying on someone with binoculars on a dark deck. Even with all that, the industry is moving into something newer: autonomous and semi-autonomous ships. These vessels use AI systems to plot routes, adjust speeds, and respond to unexpected situations. But they still aren't perfect. The systems can't always make judgment calls under pressure. They rely on past data and current input, but they don't always know when to break the rules in a life-or-death moment. Most autonomous systems are still monitored by human crews for that reason. That leads to a surprising reality. Most marine accidents today still come down to human error. The European Maritime Safety Agency reports that somewhere between 75 to 96% of ship accidents have a human decision at the root.
Maritime transport has a vital strategic and social role.
Technology can help, but it can't eliminate mistakes. People still ignore alerts, misread screens, or act too late. Sometimes they put trust in automation when they shouldn't. So, while technology has made ships safer, it hasn't made them foolproof. You don't have to go back to the Titanic to see how human error can outplay technology. Remember the Ever Given? It is a container ship that blocked the Suez Canal in 2021.
Incredible story. A ship has actually blocked one of the world's most important shipping lanes. This is the Suez Canal.
It had advanced navigation systems, real-time satellite tracking, and an expert crew, but strong wind, overconfidence, and a narrow channel led to one of the biggest shipping delays in recent history. The ship wasn't near ice, but the lesson was the same. Tech alone doesn't stop accidents. Today's ships do have one big advantage when it comes to reacting fast. They're built with thrusters that can push the ship sideways, not just forward and back. Their rudders and engines are stronger and more responsive, which means course corrections happen faster. If a modern ship spotted an iceberg at the same distance the Titanic did, odds are good it could turn in time or at least reduce the damage by slowing sharply and steering around it. Simulation testing shows these ships are far more agile than they used to be. So, could a modern ship still hit an iceberg? The answer isn't simple. Yes, it is possible, but it is unlikely. Most large passenger ships stick to well-monitored zones, rely on real-time hazard updates, and follow strict rules about speed and avoidance. But nature has a way of surprising even the best-prepared systems, and if climate change keeps pushing more ice into open water, the risk might go up, not down. At the end of the day, there's no single solution, just layers of defense stacked on top of each other. We are about to reveal what would happen if a modern ship hit an iceberg today. Would it break apart? Would it sink? Or would it be able to hold steady while help arrived? Keep watching. The answer will surprise you. What will a Titanic disaster look like in 2025? If a ship like the Titanic were to sink in 2025, everything about the response would look completely different from what happened in 1912. For starters, the global maritime world is now tightly connected, and search and rescue teams don't just wait around. There's a whole international network in place, made up of coast guards, naval forces, satellite monitors, and emergency responders from multiple countries. The moment a distress signal goes out, alerts ping across borders. Helicopters are prepped, ships are rerouted, and rescue teams head out within hours, sometimes even faster if they're already nearby. The goal is no longer to just find survivors, but to reach them before things spiral out of control. Passengers today aren't invisible numbers on a list either. Most cruise ships now issue smart wristbands or keycard-style trackers to everyone on board. These little devices use RFID or Bluetooth to track who's where in real time. So if there's an emergency, the crew doesn't waste time guessing who made it to a lifeboat or who's missing. They know who last checked in, what room they were in, and where to send help. It's not perfect, but it's way better than trying to shout names over the chaos like in Titanic's day. And then there's the internet. Ships today stay connected even in the middle of nowhere, thanks to services like Starlink and other maritime satellite networks. That means from the first moment something goes wrong, the entire world could be watching. Passengers would be live streaming, sending messages, uploading videos, and calling for help all at once. News outlets would catch on in minutes, not days, and everyone from rescue teams to government agencies would be under instant pressure to respond. It wouldn't just be a sinking, it'd be a global event unfolding in real time. Inside the ship, evacuation drills have trained both crew and passengers on exactly what to do. People know their muster stations. Muster stations are the assigned spots they go to when things go wrong. There are bright digital signs across every hallway pointing the way, and crew members with radios are placed throughout the decks to guide people and handle confusion. These are not ad-libbed instructions. They are planned, drilled, and practiced for exactly this kind of moment. The lifeboats of today are nothing like the old wooden rowboats on the Titanic. They're fully enclosed, sealed against weather, and come with motors, lights, GPS, emergency rations, radios, and flotation aids. Oh, that is not even the best part. You see, many modern lifeboats even have sensors that tell the crew if someone's inside or not. So when they're lowered, rescuers already know which ones are full, which ones are empty, and where each one is floating in the water. That makes pickup way faster later on. On top of the ships and lifeboats, air support would join in fast. Helicopters from the nearest Coast Guard or Navy base could start flying out within minutes of the first call. Some countries even deploy drone teams with infrared cameras to spot people in the water or check for survivors in lifeboats. This kind of air response didn't exist at all in 1912, but now it's a critical part of saving lives. Passengers today also have something the Titanic didn't even dream of: apps built specifically for emergencies. These apps can show evacuation steps in real time,
emergency response apps to help their customers and governments navigate this crisis,
guide users to their muster stations, send updates about who's accounted for, and even help families reconnect once they're safe. Some let people signal if they're injured or stuck, and others act like digital SOS buttons that alert the crew. It doesn't fix everything, but in a panic, it gives people a plan to follow right on their phone. The public response would be massive and immediate. Social media would be flooded. News stations would be running non-stop coverage. Governments would hold press briefings. Activists would demand to know what happened. Safety regulators would be questioned. Survivors would start sharing their stories while the ship was still going down. This kind of attention speeds up everything: the rescue effort, the blame, the investigations, and even how fast other cruise lines react with their safety checks. Enough of talking about what happens inside the ship. The true extent of what happens outside will leave you speechless. Behind the scenes, the financial hit would be crushing. Insurance companies would be flooded with claims from passengers, families, and the cruise line itself. Billions of dollars could be on the line depending on how the ship sank, what safety measures failed, and how quickly the company responded. Lawyers would be filing suits before survivors even made it home, and regulators would be investigating everything from the ship's construction to its emergency protocols. A recent example of how this could all unfold happened in 2019, when the Viking Sky cruise ship lost power in rough seas off the coast of Norway. More than 1,300 people were on board.
I have 1,300 passengers and crew on board.
The ship started drifting toward rocks in terrifying waves. The engines were down, and the lifeboats couldn't be lowered safely. The situation could have turned tragic in a matter of hours. But thanks to a coordinated response, helicopters were launched. Passengers were airlifted off the ship one at a time in extremely rough weather, More than 400 people were rescued by air before the ship regained power and was escorted back to safety. It wasn't perfect. People were injured. There was chaos. But no one died. That's what today's rescue and recovery system is designed to do: turn potential mass disasters into survivable events. As we've seen, if the Titanic story played out in today's world, things wouldn't end the same way. But survival wouldn't just depend on technology or fast helicopters. It would also depend on people knowing what to do when the moment comes. Thank you for staying with us. Do you think the modern shipping industry is doing enough to preserve passengers' lives? Share your opinions with us in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, click the following video on your screen, and you will enjoy it.